What's going on, Guardians? Welcome back to another theory on Destiny. This one is well known throughout the community, and it really picked up steam a while ago. It started off as a little thing, as someone saying this is possible, and then people backed it up, added in more facts, information, some opinions, and now it's a full-blown theory. So, let me try to persuade you into believing that this is actually what Destiny really is. To get this out of the way, if you haven't read the title of this video, it has to do with the darkness. We know what the darkness is because I explained it during the collapse, but we actually really don't. We call the darkness the darkness. It's not like that was their name that they chose. That is what they are called. That's what we know them by because they were harmful to us. The Traveler is what brought the darkness there. The darkness was chasing the Traveler, and the Traveler came over to us and helped us out. This is probably just a kind gesture towards us, saying, hey, I'll do nice stuff for you as you can help me. And that's what happened. We helped the Traveler, and we still help the Traveler to this day because the Traveler plays probably the biggest part in human survival. So of course we're going to look upon it as a god, as good, because it's fighting for us, and humans only care for themselves. Anything that attacks us is bad. Does that make sense? To go a little bit further and to keep this in theory territory, you could say that the Traveler went to other galaxies, other solar systems, and pretty much just went around and really did some damage to other civilizations, whether it was the Fallen, the Cabal, any other weird race out there. It could have sparked this war between the Traveler and the Darkness, and we don't get that side of the story because history is written by the victors, and we won. We won our own fight, but we didn't even know what we were fighting for. The Darkness wasn't necessarily after us, it was more towards the Traveler. It just so happened we got caught up in the middle of it, and now we're stuck in this. So, do you want facts to back this up? Well, might as well just give it to you. Going off of just plain flat out names, Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. Those aren't necessarily the greatest and the most heroic sounding names ever. Warlocks usually deal with magic. More specifically, they're well known for dark magic and doing terrible stuff. Hunters, self-explanatory, they're hunters. And Titans usually go along with, of course they're big, yeah, but in most video games they go along with being an enemy that you face. Also, enemies sound good. Acolytes, knights, wizards. Knights, also self-explanatory. Knights, a shining armor. So that evidence does not help the Traveler. Thinking about this right now, you could say that the Traveler chose to be called the Light because that's what sounds good, and chose that the other side is the Darkness, just for better purposes and to make him, her, whatever itself is better, because we don't even know what the Traveler is still. I can't really say much about that. But here's a story from Destiny's Deep Grimoire, and it's something that really backs up this theory, that shows that Guardians are just pawns in this game that's much bigger than all of us. So let's get started. I'll be reading in first person, not to throw you off. I am Pujari. There are some visions I've had about the Black Garden and the Traveler move across the face of the Iron World. It opened the earth and stitched shut the sky. It made life possible. In these things there is always symmetry. Do you understand? This is not the beginning, but it is the reason. The garden grows in both directions. It grows into tomorrow and yesterday. The red flowers bloom forever. There are gardeners now. They came into the garden in vessels of bronze, and they moved through the groves in rivers of thought. This is the vision I had when I leapt from the shores of time and let myself sink. I walked beneath the blossoms. The light came from ahead, and the shadows of the flowers were words. They said things, but I will never write them here. At the end of the path grew a flower, in the shape of a ghost. I reached out to pluck it, and it cut me with a thorn. I bled, and blood was light. The ghost said to me, "You are a dead thing made by a dead power in the shape of the dead. All you will ever do is kill. You do not belong here. This is a place of life." "The Traveler is life," I said. "You are a creature of darkness. You seek to deceive me." But I looked behind me, down the long slope where the blossoms tumbled in the warm wind, and the great trees wept sap like blood or wine. I felt doubt. When my ghost raised me from the sea, there was a thorn cut in my left hand, and it was not healed since. So that was quite an experience that Pujari had, and the thorn being left in his left hand is only evidence that it may or may not have happened. But the main thing is what the ghost said. The ghost said, I'm going to say it again, "You are a dead thing made by a dead power in the shape of the dead." That is true. We were raised up from the dead, and the Traveler is pretty much dead now. And all we will ever do is kill. It is true. All we do is kill. We kill each other in the Crucible. We kill Fallen. We kill Cabal. Cannot kill the Vex, but I'll go into that later. And we kill the Hive. On top of that, just to back it up and to throw the icing on the cake, there's a Reddit post about some guy running into a Fallen, and the Fallen screaming, "It's the darkness." You can hear it. It's a little bit inaudible, but you can actually make it out, and you can definitely think that it's what the Fallen said. So you can go ahead and find that. So that only puts things into saying that this is probably the way it is, and we are the darkness. We may not be the darkness ourselves, but the Traveler has manipulated us into thinking that we are good and everything else is bad. And what would be very fascinating is when the Guardians do realize this, and in like year 10, it's a full-on battle with the Traveler. And then they throw a curveball, there's like 17 other Travelers, and we gotta fight all them, but that's just getting into crazy territory. So I'm gonna stop myself there. But as for you, I want you guys to think about it. It makes sense if you really do think of all the facts, everything to back it up. Is it good storytelling? Well, yeah, it's not bad. It's a formula that works in everything. The main character is usually the bad guy, and they get this sense of realization that they are, and they turn themselves around, and then they fight what they've been alongside the entire time. It'd be very confusing because the Guardians got their power from the I'm just gonna stop because I'm just gonna confuse myself. But as for me, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, Guardians.